go under the green flag at 3:56. Right now it is 4:26, and I can tell you this, the temperature is tumbling, Alex Hayden. Get your coat out. 75 degrees outside now, and it feels like 77.
Yeah, but as soon as the sun peeks through the cloud, there's some heavy cloud cover that came over, but when that sun peeks back out, heat, humidity goes back up, and Jeff, that's just not going to do anything for our hair.
No, it's not. Neither one of us. We'll tell you, we're going to let you in on a little secret. Neither one of us have had a haircut in a long time.
Since before Phoenix for me.
Correct.
And that's been a long time ago. So.
All right, here's, I really found something rather unique over the course of the last several weeks, and that was I recognized I'm not a good race fan. I'm not, and you made me play one when you guys went off to Darlington and then on to Charlotte and Atlanta and Martinsville. Yeah, I absolutely loved the opportunity to listen to the Motor Racing Network and what you guys were doing, but I also found a new passion, and that is tailgating in my backyard or tailgating at the beach or on the boat or whatever. And I love the promotion that the Motor Racing Network is running right now, the NASCAR tailgate promotion, opportunity to win some cool things and to interact with us. And who knows, the promo that we're using, you may end up on a show down the line. There's all kinds of cool things going on.
There really is, and we'll get into a little bit more with some of the cool things that are coming up on that if you're one of the folks that are selected to be a part of it. However, I can start this off by simply saying you have to be able to go on Twitter and use our Twitter handle at MRN Radio, but you must use the hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. If you don't know what the hashtag is, that's the little pound sign or the number sign, depends on your decade of birth. That is hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. You have to use that. Show us what you're doing, how you're watching or listening to the race. Show us if you're out on your boat or in your garage or tinkering on your own car, perhaps with the radio playing in the background. Maybe you've got the TV on, the sound down, and the radio turned up listening to the Motor Racing Network, like so many folks do. Take a picture of it. Go to our Twitter feed at MRN Radio. Use the hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. Some of the cool things that could happen is we're going to select some fans to join us next Sunday, a week from today, at Talladega Superspeedway for a virtual pre-race hospitality. And that's another one of the things you talked about during this whole deal. You've had to learn some things about yourself and some new things. I got to tell you, I've become a Zoom expert because of all the meetings and things having to take place virtually. So that's what we're going to do at MRN. Some folks are going to win the opportunity to connect via Zoom and hang out and spend time with us at the Motor Racing Network before the race next week in Talladega.
I can't wait. Are you going to have your hair cut by Talladega, yes or no?
I can't answer that yet. I don't know.
So you're saying that people that tune in that win may get an opportunity to see us with this long hair?
It could happen. You never know. I'm kind of in a battle. I want it cut, but Alicia does not want it cut. I don't know. We're in a battle right now.
Hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. Use our Twitter handle at MRN Radio. And, I kept sending you my tailgate parties while you guys were broadcasting, and you were sending me back emojis. I didn't appreciate that. Hey, let's talk about who's been really good of late. We have been racing, of course, even though for some of us, it is our first time back since Phoenix, and we go back to Martinsville, and I want to start there. Let's go in reverse order. The race, and anybody that's been listening to us since Daytona knows that for you and I, we both agreed the race we had circled on the calendar under the lights at Martinsville, it was going to be a big doubleheader weekend with the NASCAR Big Block Modifieds running on Friday night or the NASCAR Modifieds running on Friday night, the Cup race under the lights on Saturday. Okay, that didn't work out the way they had hoped, but you did get that race in on Wednesday under the lights for the very first time.
It was spectacular. It really was. And my hat's off to Clay Campbell and his entire team there at Martinsville Speedway for just everything that they've done getting that taken care of. This goes back a couple of years when Jeff Gordon took the checkered flag there in the October race at Martinsville, which ended up being his final Cup Series checkered flag and his final win there. It was getting dark. There were no lights, and the race fans were just... Nobody was leaving. The place was a madhouse, as you remember, with Jeff Gordon picking up that win. the flash bulbs going off. Everybody wanted to stay and celebrate that win, but it was getting dark. And Clay Campbell said, we've got to do something about that. We cannot have our race fans not have an opportunity to celebrate a win with their hero out there, no matter who that hero might be, standing down in victory lane. So went to work, and they put in the LED lighting system, which is just spectacular there at Martinsville Speedway. And yeah, we ran the NASCAR Cup Series for the first time under the lights in the history of that track. The only racetrack, Martinsville Speedway, is the only track that we have raced at every single year since NASCAR's beginning in 1949. It was historic, and it was a great moment, and I absolutely cannot wait till we can share that experience with all the race fans.
Oh, I can't wait to get back there. I just hated to miss not going to Martinsville, Virginia, and seeing the paperclip. And by the way, Truex getting the win. More on Martin and what he has done since we had the break. Boy, they are just hot and on fire. You mentioned President Clay Campbell. I want to mention President Kerry Tharp, the president of the Darlington Raceway. That's where you got everything kicked off, if you will, after the virus break. And what a job they did in such short order. They didn't know that NASCAR was going to tap them on the shoulder and say, we're going to come back. We need a place to race. We're going to do it shortly. Can you and your team get this track ready and make it safe? And we're going to bring back NASCAR. They did exactly that. They did it very well.
They absolutely did, and our hats off to Kerry Tharp and his entire team. It was fantastic to witness what we were able to do in a short amount of time to get back racing in the NASCAR, not only Cup Series, but NASCAR Xfinity Series at Darlington Raceway. And by the way, we do want to pass along our condolences to Kerry Tharp. Lost his mother just a few days ago, so our thoughts and prayers to Kerry and his entire family. But yeah, it was just a tremendous job by he and his team to get the track ready to go in a short amount of time, to get the facility ready to go. And again, President of NASCAR Steve Phelps and his team putting everything in place for everybody to come back to work and get back safely back on the racetrack. And that trend has continued on each and every stop that we've been to, from Charlotte Motor Speedway, obviously Martinsville we talked about, to Bristol, to Atlanta. It really was a spectacular job by everybody involved to get us back racing.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, I did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
O'Reilly Auto Parts takes pride in being an essential supplier of auto parts and is dedicated to keeping their customers on the road. Truck drivers, first responders, healthcare workers, and merchandise delivery teams, along with countless others, are the heart of what keeps our country moving forward. So, whatever it takes, delivering your online order curbside or shipping straight to your home, O'Reilly Auto Parts stays committed to keeping you safe and your vehicle on the road as we all work toward a better tomorrow. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Back here at Homestead Miami Speedway, there's some blue sky off turns 3 and 4. That was covered in heavy cloud cover earlier. Track is nearly dry. We'll check in with the gentleman out in the corners here in just a couple of minutes for the absolute latest on-the-spot weather report. We'll also hear from Winston Kelly and Steve Post again as they're back out on the pit lane. Good news is race car drivers are back out by their race cars as well. Hopefully we'll be getting those engines fired up much sooner rather than later. From Homestead Miami Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Victory Junction was young race driver Adam Petty's dream. He worked toward building a camp where children with serious medical conditions could concentrate on fun and not their illness or disease. When he died tragically, his family and friends around NASCAR made sure that dream came true. Today, Victory Junction is a camp that provides fun, life-changing experiences to children dealing with illnesses and disabilities, all at no cost to the camper. Help us serve more children by visiting victoryjunction.org.
Hi folks, Mike Bagley here. At MRN, we rely on equipment from Racing Electronics.
Joey Logano to the lead on the back straightaway.
Racing Electronics has scanners and headphones. We can listen to every uncensored conversation between driver and crew.
You heard the champion That's it, baby, yeah!
And when we need live audio, in-car cameras, and up-to-the-second statistics, use their latest handheld unit called Legend. To learn more about these products and many others, visit racingelectronics.com. Racing Electronics, the official two-way communication partner of MRN.
We welcome you back to Motor Racing Network's live coverage of the Dixie Vodka 400 here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Unfortunately, just before we got the command to fire engines, there was a brief rain shower over turns 3 and 4. The track is virtually dry over there, and the skies, well, there's still some heavy clouds on the horizon. There's some blue sky. Basically, this is a typical South Florida day.
Wait just a minute, and it will change. Now, Dave Moody has climbed back into his perch just outside of turn number 2. And, Dave, I was kidding you during the commercial break when I said turn around, look back out over your shoulder. What do you see?
I don't want to look.
All right, don't look. Look at the track because that's dry.
The track has been dry. At this end of the racetrack, we never got a single drop of rain. We could have been racing the entire time. You're right. To our south, about, 10, 12 miles, there is a substantial downpour going on as we speak. But at least so far, we've got nothing at this end of the racetrack, and let's keep our fingers crossed that continues.
Yeah, let's do that. Go ahead and cross those fingers there, Dave. By the way, we mentioned using the hashtag NASCAR tailgate at MRN Radio. A lot of you folks are already doing that, so we appreciate that. Maybe you'll be some of the lucky fans that'll join us on the MRN. We'll have ourselves a nice virtual tailgate before the race at Talladega. Big thanks to @NC_Wahoo, the real CK. He's at the pool with everybody else. They got the radio on, listening to us here on the Motor Racing Network. Also, thanks to @1000 Realties. That's Shane Tierney listening to us. Rich Greenway checking in with us from his office, which looks like the dash of his big rig that he's taken a photo of. That's @Rich52370. And also thanks to Chuck Weldon, @Chuck Weldon. He is a farmer, and he's on his tractor right now planting beans and waiting on the command. His picture he sent to us from his tractor out in the field. So Chuck
Love it.
and everybody else, thank you so much for listening to the Motor Racing Network. Who knows, you might get to join us for a virtual race, pre-race hospitality with us here, all of us buffoons on the Motor Racing Network next week before Talladega.
That is so cool. Thank you for interacting with us. I've got good news. In fact, I got 2 pieces of good news. As I look off to my left, I can see that Mike Bagley has returned to his spot just outside of turn number 3. Now, that's one piece of good news, and we'll visit with him in a moment. The other piece of good news is, remember, I think I made the comment, 17 or 18 pieces of track drying equipment, jet blowers, the Toyota track drying team. They are vacating that area. That racetrack is buttoned up and ready to go. Mike Bagley, you're out there in turn number 3. Welcome back, first of all, and tell us some good news.
Well, the good news is I'm here. The bad news is you haven't let me catch my breath yet from climbing these steps. Gotten back up here. We're trying to defog the binoculars from being in the car. But the good news is, Jeff, the track is dry, and there are no rain showers, it looks like, around us in the immediate vicinity. So it looks like we are getting ready to go.
Mike.
Son, you got to let me breathe.
Take a break. You know what's kind of fun is that Mike, Alex, and I have all taken turns over there in turn number 3 at one point or another. And you know what? We're going to cut that man some slack because we both know that is one of the most difficult turn positions to actually ascend to. You were there just a little while ago.
Yeah, we were. And a lot of people may not realize, you hear the term, we're on a billboard. Well, you're literally standing on the back, or in this case, the side of a gigantic billboard over there off turn 2 for Dave Moody, off turn 3 for Mike Bagley. For Bagman, it's the Baptist Health billboard over there. And there's a small steel perch that the racetrack constructed just for us. Then they put some antennas on there, and there's a cage, a safety cage that surrounds the vertical ladder that you got to get to. Then you got to make a right-hand turn, another safety cage and a vertical ladder before you get into your little basket. So a lot of fun there. Hey, I think we got some good news going on.
I know what that sounds like. That sounds like 32 engines that have come to life down on pit road in a minute. The 22nd annual Dixie Vodka 400. It's next on the Motor Racing Network.
At Toyota Racing, we know it's a privilege just to race. It's a privilege to feel the rumble of the engines. A privilege to have Kyle, Denny, and Eric Jones on our team. A privilege to be among legends, and a privilege to win. But there is no greater privilege than having the support of our fans. Even though we're not together, we know you're with us when we cross the finish line. So count on ToyotaRacing.com for all the action, today and tomorrow. Toyota. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
As America continues to respond, reshape, and reopen with new optimism, communities are still coming together to help one another. And NASCAR sponsors are still on that team for doing their part. Blue Emu salutes our healthcare heroes, essential workers, and first responders. Know that Blue Emu, the official partner of NASCAR and MRN, recognizes and supports your brave, tireless efforts to care for this great nation of ours. Stay strong, America, and remember that together we are better.
Let's correct something. 38 engines actually have come to life down on pit road. Not 32. Yeah, they're all running. They're all ready to go. 38 engines, 38 drivers, 38 teams getting ready to do battle in the Dixie Vodka 400. They'll be rolling off of pit road here very shortly. From Homestead Miami Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
When you're on the go, missing the side-by-side action at the racetrack isn't a problem.
Here comes Legato on the high side. He drives it deep into turn number 2.
Motor Racing Network brings the NASCAR race to you, wherever you are, so you don't miss one lap of the excitement.
Denny Hamlin has won the 61st edition of the Daytona 500.
You are the man, D8.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
Check out MRN.com for a podcast series called The Tough Trucks of NASCAR. 25 years and still trucking. We'll take you back to some great races.
Here they come. They're crashing in the back at the line. Mike Skinner wins it.
Some wild moments.
Brendan Gaughan gets turned around and slams hard into the inside retaining wall.
And the stories that go with them.
We lost the championship, but there was a lot of ugly things that went on behind the scenes. Ended a lot of friendships, actually, to this day.
Download the shows for free on iTunes and at MRN.com.
This is Mati, founder of Dixie Vodka. Welcome to the Dixie Vodka 400 at Homestead Miami Speedway, presented by MRN. On our journey to becoming the South's leading homegrown craft vodka and the first official vodka of NASCAR, we've partnered with farmers across the Southeast to showcase some of the region's most iconic ingredients. And now we're bringing the flavors of the South from our backyard to your neck of the woods. In these difficult times, Dixie Vodka is committed to serving those who serve us by supporting the USBG's Bartender Relief Fund. Please consider donating at dixievodka.com/bartenders. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed today's race. Now let's raise a glass to going fast.
Dixie Vodka, proud partner of today's Cup Series race here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Okay, the cars are already out onto the racetrack. We need to get you out there quickly, too, because we're going to be under the green flag shortly, covering the action for the Motor Racing Network over in turn number 2. We've already talked to him a couple of times, but let's welcome him back from Barrie, Vermont. It's Dave Moody.
Thank you, Jeff Striegel. Welcome back, everybody, from high atop turn 2 here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Let's give you the tail of the tape at this end of the racetrack. It is, of course, the variable degree banking. 18 degrees on the bottom, an extra degree up to 19 in the middle, one more still, 20 up next to that seafoam green safer barrier where a vast majority of this field will be running before this race gets too old here this afternoon. It all falls away at the exit of turn 2 to just 3 degrees of banking on the back straightaway. If it's anything like every other race we've seen this weekend, we're going to have 2 and 3 and 4 wide racing all afternoon and evening long. We look forward to it. We'll watch it all unfold from high atop turn number 2. Now let's go to the other end of the back straightaway. Mike Bagley, Milford, Delaware.
Thank you, Dave. Good afternoon, everybody. Positioned on the platform here at the exit of the back back straight away. We mentioned that we've had this rain shower. Mother Nature giving Homestead Miami Speedway a bath, at least at this end of the speedway. Don't know how that's going to affect what's happened already. All the rubber that's been laid down with the NASCAR Xfinity Series race earlier today. The track's wide enough that you can use every inch of this asphalt. But where will you go at the beginning of the race? Will you go at the bottom? Will you go right to the top? A lot of unknowns, but there are options for drivers, and that's what they love. We'll see a lot of slipping, a lot of sliding, and we can't wait to cover it all. All 400 miles worth here this afternoon at Homestead Miami Speedway.
There will be a competition caution today at lap number 25. Stage 1 will end at lap 80. Stage 2 at lap 160. And, of course, the checkered flag at 267. That means a lot of strategy. So let's get a final thought from pit road before the green flag. This report from pit road is presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Winston Kelly.
Well, Alex, when I talked to some of the crew chiefs, it seemed like most of them were saying it's pretty straight up. You come in at the competition caution at lap number 25, then you come in at the end of the first stage, and then you split the second stage in two. The one thing that might be a bit of a wild card if we have a lot of green flag racing in that last stage is, do you split it halfway there? Because the Sunoco fuel mileage will allow you to do that at about 60 laps, but you could come in about 33 laps, and again another 33 laps. We've seen that happen, and I think we'll see that happen for guys that aren't out front, but maybe guys that are maybe outside of the top 10. But tire wear here, Steve Post, that's always a factor as well.
Yes, it is. The teams have 10 Goodyear Racing Eagles to choose from. 1 on the car, 9 down here in the pit box. And you talk about the strategy being straight up. It's when we get a number of cautions, that's when things get interesting, because the drivers are going to want tires each and every time. The crew chief is going to have to manage that quantity if we get a lot of cautions. So lots of fun, lots of good stuff down here. The car's making a pass through at 45 miles per hour to set their tax and make sure there's no speeding penalties or no mistakes here on pit road this afternoon.
Steve Post and Winston Kelly for the Motor Racing Network down there on the pit lane. When your battery goes dead, everything could come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. O'Reilly Auto Parts will test your battery free of charge. If your battery needs to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. Keep your car on road by getting your battery tested for free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
Well, make no mistake about it, there is weather in the area. We can see it clearly from the broadcast booth just outside of turn number 2. In fact, it's over Dave Moody's right shoulder, but we are ready to get under the green flag. We expect to see the indication green in 1 lap. Let's remind you, it's been a while. Today's starting lineup are certainly the top 20 starters anyway. Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano. They'll be side by side in row 1, Ford and Toyota. Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch, row 2, Chase Elliott. And last Wednesday's winner, Martin Truex Jr. They're together in row 3. Kevin Harvick, Alex Bowman, side by side, row 4. Row 5, Jimmy Johnson alongside Kurt Busch.
Starting 11th will be Ryan Blaney alongside the 12th starter Clint Boyer. Chris Buescher goes from 13th. Ryan Newman starts 14th. The 8th row will be Eric Jones and Austin Dillon. 17th and 18th starters Bubba Wallace and John Hunter Nemechek. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. goes 19th, and Matt Kenseth starts 20th.
All right, so there's a quick look at the top 20 starters. Dave Moody, a quick update. We heard there was a little bit of mist in the air, but we are ready to cut them loose. What's it like over there?
Yeah, we just had the faintest little sprinkle about 3 or 4 minutes ago, just a couple of drops here or there. Wouldn't have been enough to stop the race if it was under green. Certainly is not going to be enough to keep the race from going green. For the moment at least, unless that mess over my right shoulder comes a little closer, we are good to go.
Well, I expect Dave to man up out there and keep that rain away from the racetrack, so he's going to have to do everything he can to do that, and I think he's up to the task. The field works 2 by 2 behind that Ford Mustang Cobra GT500 pace car. The lights are out on top of it. We're a half a lap away from getting underneath the green flag. The governor of the state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, on top of the flag stand. He's got a green flag in hand. He'll be the one that gets this race underway. It'll be the Dixie Vodka 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series, returning to South Florida.
Race number 12 of the 2020 season, getting ready to go under the green flag. It is late in the afternoon. We were delayed. Should have been under the green at 3:56. Better late than never. All right, it is time to go racing here. 267 laps, and now for the start of the Dixieland Vodka 400 from the Motor Racing Network from Goldsboro, North Carolina. Here's Alex Hayden.
Field makes their way up off turn 4. Kip Childress, the pace car driver, makes the hard left turn. He's on pit road. Field in control. The governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, on top of the flag stand. He puts the green flag out, and the Dixie Vodka 400 is underway. From the inside lane, it's Joey Logano. The outside lane is Denny Hamlin. They race to turn 1.
Nobody gets the break on the entry to turn number 1. Now Logano begins to creep away by about a half a car length on the inside. Joey Logano to the lead as they hit the back straightaway.
Here's Logano. He'll swing wide up against the wall off turn 2, leaving a side-by-side battle behind him between his teammate Brad Keselowski on the inside and Denny Hamlin on the outside. Hamlin will get a fender out in front of that battle, but here comes Brad charging hard down low.
Boy, they're racing hard from about 4th on back. 3 wide as they exit off turn number 4. Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman, Kevin Harvick. They stay 3 wide as Logano leads them back to turn 1.
Harvick charges to the bottom of the racetrack. Bowman in the middle. Kyle Busch up high. Alex Bowman bails out of the middle of that sandwich. Gives the spot to Kevin Harvick. He'll go to 6th.
Battle is for the 7th position. Kyle Busch just broke through. He'll get 7th. Here's Alex Bowman. He'll go to 8th. You got Kurt Busch and Jimmy Johnson there, along with Clint Boyer and Ryan Blaney.
Jimmy Johnson down at the bottom of the racetrack. Kurt Busch works the outside lane. That's where the momentum is. Kurt Busch will pass Johnson. As a matter of fact, Kurt Busch, a strong run. At the start-finish line, he passes Alex Bowman to turn 1.
Surges around the outside of the Alex Bowman machine. He'll lead Clint Boyer to that outside lane as well. Further up, Kevin Harvick puts the crosshairs on the back bumper of Martin Truex Jr.
Took a look to the outside off 2. No room to race. Harvick will fall back in line and follow Truex to the entrance of 3. At that point, it's Harvick who will change lanes, and he'll try the bottom lane this time through.
That is the battle for position number 5. Truex, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch. Further up, Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski. Position number 2, and they are side by side.
Hamlin dives to the low groove on entry to turn number 1, takes it all the way down to the white line. Now begins to slide up the banking. He'll take the 2 spot away.
So put Hamlin in the number 2 position. You got Keselowski 3rd. 4th right now is Chase Elliott as they race off the end of the back straightaway.
And we're going to go under the caution flag for the first time today in the Dixie Vodka 400. No, it is not raining. It is because there was a lightning strike within 10 miles of the Homestead Miami Speedway. As a matter of fact, it was over there behind turns 1 and 2. So that's going to put us under the caution flag for the first time in this race. Now 4 laps are complete. Joey Logano being posted as the race leader. The rest of the top 10 will see Denny Hamlin 2nd, Brad Keselowski 3rd, Chase Elliott 4th, Martin Truex Jr. 5th, Kevin Harvick 6th, Kyle Busch 7th, Kurt Busch 8th, Clint Boyer 9th, and Ryan Blaney 10th.
And we just cannot get a break here, unfortunately, so we will slow the field down and bring the pace car out in front of Joey Logano. That's a Ford Mustang leading another Ford Mustang, leading a Toyota of Denny Hamlin. And, boy, there was a lightning strike right off the back straightaway. We could see it very clearly. So Dave and Mike will catch up with you guys here in a moment. We'll let them get down out of their turn position and seek shelter. And I'll tell you something, you know, whether I was home or whether I was here, there was one thing that I was, you know, listening to you guys and watching you guys on, and that was you just couldn't get a break from Mother Nature. It just seemed like the harder you guys and gals tried to get a race in, the more you were affected by weather. It's everywhere.
It's just crazy. It absolutely is. So very difficult circumstances that we've been dealing with, and trying times. Obviously, the pandemic we've all been dealing with, obviously, and now Mother Nature, she's paid us many visits since we decided to get back racing. And unfortunately, here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, again, it is not raining, but there was a lightning strike over behind turns 1 and 2 within 10 miles of the racetrack. And for everyone's safety, that's too close for comfort. So they're going to bring the race cars down the pit lane and bring them to a stop at the exit of pit road, single file in the running position after 5 laps have now been complete.
So it is Joey Logano at the end of lap 5, leading Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, and Martin Truex Jr. as we go under the red flag.
Though we're apart these days, we're sharing more. So, at Geico, we'd like to say thanks. Thanks for sharing your savage dance moves. Thanks for sharing your DIY haircut fails. Thanks for sharing your inner lip sync star. Now, it's our turn to share with the Geico Give Back. A 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies for current and new customers. Because we're committed for the long haul. The 15% credit lasts your full policy term. Visit geico.com/giveback for more info and eligibility.
Here at AutoZone, we're all about helping you get what you need to keep life moving. Like for that next oil change. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic Motor Oil, an STP Extended Life Oil Filter, and a Monster Energy drink, all for just $33.99. And if you need something fast, you can get it fast your way. Whether it's next day delivery or free same-day pickup, in-store or curbside, the choice is yours. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
So once again, the field has been brought down off of the racetrack and onto pit road. They will shut the cars off and will give you a complete weather update when we come back. Red flag, lap 5, Joey Logano out front from Homestead Miami Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. Call the Federal Tax Management Helpline that has been set up for you, 800-242-1706. Stop the wage garnishments, levies, and tax liens now. Once you've qualified and enrolled, the IRS will stop all the collection activities against you. These unique programs have been allocated to help the economy and significantly reduce or eliminate your tax burden. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. If you owe more than $10,000 in taxes, call for free information and to see if you qualify. Take down the number now for the Federal Tax Management Hotline, 800-242-1706. That's 800-242-1706. 800-242-1706.
Dixie Vodka 400 has gone under the red flag. Welcome back, Motor Racing Network live coverage, flag-to-flag coverage here for the NASCAR Cup Series. We are live at the Homestead Miami Speedway. We are in South Florida. We are just above the Florida Keys in Key Largo, if you will. That is the direction that we are looking off to. When we look out the broadcast window, we can see the Florida Keys off in the horizon. We can also see very clearly lightning and a rather significant cell that is just kind of stalled out just behind turn 2.
Well, there's good news, bad news. The good news is it's not raining, and that stall, most of that wall of rain is apparently going to miss the racetrack. The bad news is there's a lot of electricity in this little cell that's coming over. And when you look at the radar, that's all it is this one little cell right here that's just behind turn 2 and over off off turn 2 to the backstretch area. And now the NASCAR policy is, and for very good reason, when there's a lightning strike within 10 miles of the racetrack, there will be a mandatory 30-minute hold from the last lightning strike that's recorded and is registered here with all the weather apparatuses that we have here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. So a mandatory 30-minute hold, and that's what we're under right now.
And we have seen some fairly significant bolts of lightning that are, again, just off the property out behind the back of the racetrack. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network. Welcome back. NASCAR Cup Series in action today. The Dixie Vodka 400 from the Homestead Miami Speedway, Motor Racing Network with live coverage. We've been here all weekend. We had a doubleheader yesterday. We're trying to conclude a doubleheader today, but we are currently under a red flag condition. Only got 5 laps in. And then we got lightning. There's no rain right now. We can see the rain out back behind the property. But right now, our focus of attention is on the lightning. We have seen lightning around the area. And like Alex Hayden pointed out just a moment ago, NASCAR has a policy and a good one. Within 10 miles, we will shut it down for 30 minutes, and that's where we're at right now. My name is Jeff Striegel. Alongside is Alex Hayden. Seeking shelter right now. Our turn announcers, Dave Moody in turn 2, Mike Bagley in turn 3. Same can be said for both Winston Kelly and Steve Post. They, too, have cleared pit road. So at the moment, Alex, we have nothing more that we can do than wait.
Yeah, again, mandatory 30-minute hold. The drivers are out of their cars. The majority of them are also walking down the pit lane. They're going back to the garage area where their transporters are to seek shelter down there. Obviously, the smart thing to do. Nobody wants to be out when this is taking place. Again, it's an electrical system. There is heavy rain, but it is not falling here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Joey Logano posted as the race leader after we ran 5 laps, finally getting this race underway, 5 laps. For those of you wanting to know, yes, indeed, there are lights here at the Homestead Miami Speedway.
So we may be here for a little while. You were busy this week. Dave Moody was busy this week. Winston Kelly, you're busy every week when it comes to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Something that was supposed to happen earlier this year, and that would be voting to introduce a new class into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Alex and Dave are voters with you. Winston, what can you tell us? What's going on? What's the very latest with the voting, and who might be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Well, one of the things I'd back up and remind people that we created 2 different ballots this year. The Pioneer ballot, 5 people were nominated back March 31st on a virtual vote, and that would be people who participated in NASCAR from 1960 and prior. The modern era is from 1961, or the most recent 60 years. 10 people have been nominated for that ballot. And we'll induct 3 people rather than 5 this year, and of course we'll continue to have the Landmark Award. The Modern Era Nominating Committee met in Daytona Beach the Friday before the Daytona 500 in person, 24 people with that discussion and debate to present the 10 names that would be a part of the class of 2021 or be considered for the class of 2021. And then I mentioned the Pioneer ballot was done virtually on March the 31st. This was after the pandemic started to hit and everything was kind of shut down and everybody was doing it from home. That new set of Honors Committee ballot members or participants include all the living Hall of Famers, and the majority of them participated. So you had the Bobby Allisons and the Ken Squires and people like that. So the NASCAR did a phenomenal job putting that together. We normally would have voted on May the 20th between the Coke 600 and the All-Star race, of course. We were racing that day, so that didn't happen. So last Tuesday, there was a virtual vote. There's 65 members of the panel, and it was on a WebEx. It's kind of a Zoom-type situation like Alex was talking about, and the majority of the 65 were on there with the same discussion and debate. The thing we missed the most, just like you've said, and about not having fans here at the racetrack, is we're the only Hall of Fame that votes on, announces with fans present on the day that the vote is taken, and that's what we were unable to do because with the ballots being emailed in as well as mailed, snail-mailed in some cases, it's going to be announced this coming Tuesday night, 5 p.m., a special edition of NASCAR America, 2 members from the Modern Era ballot, 1 from the Pioneer ballot, along with the Landmark Award winner.
All right, Winston, thank you very much. And now we're going to let all of you in on a little secret. Alex Hayden, who'd you vote for?
Well, I'll tell you, I voted for 2 members on the Modern ballot and 1 off the Pioneer ballot.
And their names, how cool is that? The opportunity to be a part of a team that will etch a name into a Hall of Fame. That's big.
It is. I'm so humbled and very privileged and honored to have been asked to do this. This was my 3rd time doing this 3rd straight year as a voter. It is something I take extremely serious, and we have to. We're talking about the legends of our sport to be forever enshrined in our house, the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Uptown Charlotte. It's something I take very serious to the point where I reach out and have face-to-face conversations when possible, text conversations or telephone conversations as well for basically 10 months out of the year. Once the nominating committee tells us who the nominees are, a lot of the people in the garage that have been in this sport a long time, the Wood brothers, for instance, the King, Richard Petty, the list goes on and on and on. You start talking to people, and you start talking to some of these people, because obviously I wasn't around for a lot of these people on the ballot, especially the pioneers, obviously. So I'll use Banjo Matthews, for instance. He was one of the pioneers that was on the ballot. So pick up the phone or in the garage back in November or October of last year and find somebody, start talking to me. Tell me about Banjo Matthews. Tell me this person's story. I want to know more than what I can read on a computer screen or on black and white ink on a piece of paper. I want to hear the stories from the people who were there firsthand. I do take it very seriously, as we all do as voters. And again, I'm just so humbled and privileged to be a part of it.
Appreciate what you do. As we sit here under the red flag, for those of you that may be joining, thinking that we're going to be, 50 laps in by now, race in progress, right? Well, wrong. We got 5 laps in, and as a matter of fact, if we go back, we were literally ready to get the command when it started raining in turn number 4. That put us under a delay for roughly 45 minutes. Then we finally did drop the green flag, got 5 laps in, and we got a lightning strike just outside of the racetrack, and we have been under the lightning protocol now for the last several minutes. 5 laps in only, Joey Logano is the man at the front of the field. Rusty Wallace, earlier in our NASCAR Live pre-race show with Woody Kane, gave you the keys to going to Victory Lane. Let's revisit them, presented by Progressive Insurance. Quoting home insurance just got easier with Progressive Home Quote Explorer. Quote and buy online at progressive.com. Alex Hayden, you were listening to Rusty Wallace. Let's start there with Progressive key number 1.
Stay out of the wall. Even though, and you might look at that and hear that and go, well, obviously, but here at Homestead Miami Speedway, the 20 degrees of banking right up against the safer barrier is where a lot of the grip is. And that's where you can pack the air literally inches off of the right rear quarter panel and get yourself good speed around this difficult 1.5 mile racetrack. But if you pierce that little air bubble just enough, the car's going to slide up and hit the fence. So that's Progressive key number 1 that Rusty Wallace said, NASCAR Hall of Famer. Stay out of the wall. And that next one, stay in sync with your pit stops, because tires are so important here as this racetrack just eats away the Goodyear tires. And as you go longer into a green flag run, the lap times get much slower. The speeds drop down drastically. So if you get off sync with the rest of the competition on pit stops, it could put yourself in a difficult position. And the third Progressive key of the race, be careful entering the pit lane. We saw that yesterday in the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. Sheldon Creed came off of turn number 4 and went head-on into the bright yellow barrels that are full of sand and full of water down there to protect the drivers and the cars from the embankment, or abutment, that is, of the opening of the pit wall down there that separates pit lane from the racing surface. He went head-on into those. And when you have worn-out race tires, getting on the brakes, trying to get your car or truck pulled down to the left, that's something that's very difficult to do here that we've seen. And those are NASCAR Hall of Famer and Motor Racing Network broadcaster Rusty Wallace's keys to the race. The keys to the race are brought to you by Progressive Insurance.
Hey guys, this is NASCAR Cup driver Corey LaJoy. Discover a better way to vacation with Blue Green Vacations, the official vacation ownership provider of NASCAR, Bass Pro Shops, and Choice Hotels. Create the kind of lasting vacation experience you want every time, and share a lifetime of memorable vacations with the ones you love most at over 69 beautiful and unique resorts in more than 40 exciting destinations across the U.S. Learn more at BlueGreenVacations.com. That's BlueGreenVacations.com.
The ARCA Menard Series returns to the track Saturday, June 20th at Talladega Superspeedway. Tune in to Fox Sports 1 at 2 p.m. Eastern Saturday for the General Tire 200, or listen live right here on the Motor Racing Network. It's Saturday afternoon rush hour in Alabama. It's the ARCA Menard Series General Tire 200 at Talladega, live on FS1 and MRN at 2 p.m. Eastern. ARCA's back on track.
Still sitting under the red flag here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. No water falling from the skies. But again, there was a lightning strike within 10 miles. That means a mandatory safety hold for 30 minutes. Drivers are out of their race cars. We did take the green flag. Joey Logano is the race leader. Denny Hamlin second. Brad Keselowski third. Chase Elliott fourth. And Martin Truex Jr. round out the top 5. 5 laps in as we sit under the red flag. From Homestead Miami Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Citywide to countryside. Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTire.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Hey guys, this is Corey LaJoy. Join me and my two friends Lauren Fox and Daryl Mott on Sunday Money. Every week as we talk a little NASCAR racing, a little nonsense, but mostly bicker with each other.
I had a Super Bowl party, and neither of you showed up.
We get along okay sometimes.
Yeah.
I'd say it's 50-50.
I think the hairspray just seeps through his cranium into his brain. Throws off his.
I'm regretting being here.
No topic is off limits, so come join our conversation every week on Sunday Money. Right here on the Motor Racing Network or wherever you find your podcast.
Back here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, a little earlier we asked you to join the broadcast using our Twitter feed at MRN Radio. Make sure you use the hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. Send a photo of how you're listening to the race today, the Dixie Vodka 400 from Homestead Miami Speedway, with a photo of where you're at, how you're doing it. And who knows, you may be picked to be part of a virtual tailgate party before next Sunday's NASCAR Cup Series race at the Talladega Superspeedway. Join up virtually and hang out with us, the broadcasters here of the Motor Racing Network. Big thanks to Anthony Catalano at Catalano_91. He is here at the Homestead Miami Speedway watching their first race ever live in person, so we welcome you there. Sheila Steinkooler watching it by the pool in Clint Boyer's hometown out in Kansas. Amanda Schupman listening from the grandstands here at Homestead Miami Speedway. We've got Cross Zander building a fence out on his property with the radio playing in the background. Appreciate the hard work. Also, Cynthia Reagan baling hay so they can feed the cows in 5 months. The picture as they bale hay out on their farm, listening to the Motor Racing Network's coverage of the Dixie Vodka 400.
Want to take part, and maybe Alex will rattle your name off before we go back under the green flag. You can do that, of course, on Twitter at MRN Radio, and then use the hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. Take a picture of how you're spending your afternoon listening to us here live on the Motor Racing Network. We are continuing to wait out a weather delay. Now, we'll give you the good news first, and that is the track is dry. We're ready to go. The bad news is we've just got a stagnant cell just outside of turn number 2, slowly moving across the palm trees, and unfortunately that cell has lightning in it. It flashes every once in a while, although Alex and I can tell you that we have not seen a flash of lightning in quite some time. NASCAR protocol, 30 minutes when we get one within that 10-mile radius. So we just sit here and wait. Logano is the man that is at the front of the field at the moment. Joey is. Only 5 laps complete. Then Denny Hamlin, Joey's teammate, Brad Keselowski. Brad right now is third. Ryan Blaney, another Team Penske Ford. They sit ninth, and let's talk a moment about Team Penske and a team that went through something that might have other teams scratching their head during the offseason. When the owner, Roger Penske, calls everybody into a conference room and says, gentlemen, we're going to mix things up for 2020. The crew chief you're with today will not be the crew chief you're going to be with at Daytona. And I think it's been a rallying call, don't you, Alex? The teams have responded.
They absolutely have, and arguably Roger Penske has been one of the most, if not the most successful car owner in motorsports history in the United States. So he knows exactly what he's doing with sports cars, with IndyCar, obviously in NASCAR as well. And he did not like the fact that his drivers and crew chiefs were not asking questions of each other, basically not challenging one another to make their race cars fast. And you stop and look at the numbers with Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney. They were winning races and championships, but that just simply wasn't good enough. There's a lot more that they felt like they could be accomplishing as far as more checkered flags and more championships. So he said, we're going to mix things up and basically rotate crew chiefs and crews to different car numbers with their same drivers out there. And it's paid dividends. Joey Logano's won a couple of races this year. Brad Keselowski's won a couple of races. Ryan Blaney has put himself in position to win races, especially here after the shutdown. Blaney's come back. He's finished third at both Charlotte races, finished fourth at Atlanta, finished second at Martinsville. Ryan Blaney's knocking on the door to get to victory lane for the first time this year. But when the captain, Roger Penske, says, here's what I want to do, first of all, everybody says, yes, sir. They don't question it. They go about their business. They put their heads down. They start asking questions of each other, start challenging one another, and clearly the results are beginning to show.
Joey Logano, who is teamed now with Paul Wolfe. Paul used to be with Brad last year. Ryan Blaney is teamed with Todd Gordon. Todd was with Joey last year. And Brad Keselowski with Jeremy Bullins. Jeremy had been with Ryan Blaney last year. And it has certainly paid off so far. All right, so that's a Ford team. Let's switch gears, if you will. Talk about some of the Chevrolets. Man, they continue to improve. We all know, and we've documented it so many times, that there was a time not too long ago that the Chevys maybe weren't performing at the same level as the Fords and the Toyotas. And we look at that team, that mega team that Rick Hendrick owns, Hendrick Motorsports, and we look at their Ford drivers. And we were thinking, now how soon might it be before they come back and really begin to perform? And I think the answer is they are back. They are performing. They will be reckoned with. What's your take on Rick Hendrick and the 4 Chevrolet teams?
Well, Chevrolet's certainly done their homework. You remember, it seems like forever ago, but Chevrolet introduced the new Camaro body style for the 2020 campaign, and it paid dividends right out of the box. They've had good race cars across the board. If you think about it, Richard Childress Racing, Tyler Reddick has really been doing a fantastic job leading the charge in his Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. And he is a Sunoco Rookie of the Year contender. And then you mentioned the Hendrick Motorsports cars. Jimmy Johnson leading a lot of laps at Martinsville Speedway Wednesday evening. Chase Elliott clearly having a fantastic start to the season here in 2020. He's already got a victory under his belt. He's got the most top 5s through the opening 11 races of the season than he's ever had in his young career. Tied for the most top 10s through 11 races that he's ever had in his career. So Chase Elliott certainly in the right direction. And when you look at William Byron's numbers here, the first 7 starts of the year, only one top 10. He led only 4 laps. However, if you look at the last 4, young William Byron, he's got 2 top 10s. He's led some laps, and he's averaging a 15th place finish through that stretch too. So William Byron's getting better. We know Alex Bowman re-signed. He's got a 1-year extension deal at Hendrick Motorsports. So Alex Bowman and all the Chevrolet teams, and you look at Chip Ganassi Racing, Kurt Busch is really performing outstanding with his Chevrolet for Chip Ganassi Racing. And Matt Kenseth having to step in at the last second to take over the 42 car. He came out and had a solid run inside the top 10 in his first race at the Darlington Raceway. And since then, and to his credit, he's admitted he's having to learn some things because these cars are different. Technology changes. The build of these race cars changes. But overall, Jeff, the Bowtie Brigade, the Chevrolets are doing extremely well. And one driver that you really didn't mention that I think is going to go to victory lane much sooner than later and ending a long dry spell is 7-time Jimmy Johnson. He was so close. He's been so close of late. They've got speed in those Chevrolets, like you said, whether it's Richard Childress Racing, whether it be Ganassi Racing, whether it be Hendrick Motorsports, those Chevrolets are back. What driver from the Chevrolet camp might be the next one to go to victory lane? All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll revisit this weather situation, and we've talked about Fords, we've talked about Chevrolets, we'll talk about Toyotas and more after this.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So the weather is just all over the place lately, right? One day it's hot, and the next day it's windy for a while. It's like, make up your mind already. Drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
The NASCAR season is back.
Hi, this is Alex Hayden. We're headed back to the racetrack, and while fans won't be with us in person, the Motor Racing Network is setting up a virtual tailgate party. Tweet us pictures or videos of your race day setup. Use the hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. We want to hear from you. Find us on Twitter at MRN Radio. Use the hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. We may feature your tailgate on an upcoming MRN program. Be a part of NASCAR's tailgate party on the Motor Racing Network.
Weather delay continues. We sit under the red flag. Only 5 laps are complete. Alex pointed out not too long ago, they do have lights here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. We used them and raced last night. We may need to use them and race again here tonight. By the way, we're bringing in Steve Post and Winston Kelly. We've moved them off of pit road and back to our truck. So we'll hear from them joining us here in just a couple of moments. So under the red flag, 5 complete: Logano, Hamlin, Keselowski, Chase Elliott, and Martin Truex Jr. So back in a moment, we'll give you an update as to what we can see out the window. And if we were weathermen, we'd be able to tell you exactly what's going on. But right now, we sit under the delay. From Homestead Miami Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
NASCAR local, regional, and international racing. Grassroots racing. From the short tracks of America to the road courses of Europe and Mexico. I'm Kyle Rickey. Join Hannah Newhouse and me for NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Whelen and Hercules Tires. Each week on the Motor Racing Network, we'll talk with the race winners, newsmakers, and grassroots racing personalities. NASCAR Coast to Coast on the Motor Racing Network.
The NASCAR season is back. Hi, this is Jeff Striegel. We're headed back to the track, and while fans won't be with us in person, the Motor Racing Network is setting up a virtual tailgate party. Tweet us pictures or videos of your race day setup with the hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. Find us on Twitter at MRN Radio using the hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. We may feature your tailgate on upcoming MRN programs. Be a part of NASCAR's tailgate party on the Motor Racing Network. Hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. Use that on Twitter at MRN Radio. Let us know how you are taking in our Mother Nature coverage. And we really wish that there was something we could tell you. It's not raining. The sun is actually out directly above us. There are big clouds all the way around the racetrack, just outside of turn number 2. That is where our focus of attention is, Alex, and it seems like it's getting lighter, but there's still one very major problem.
At some point, you just have to kind of chuckle a little bit. It's not raining here. The sun is shining at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Unfortunately, that dark rain cell, and it's raining over off in the horizon just outside of turn 2 and a little bit off of the back straightaway. The problem is there's electricity in this storm. And when there's a lightning strike within 10 miles of the racetrack, NASCAR protocol states that we go into a mandatory 30-minute hold after the latest strike. And we just had another one here just a few moments ago, so that 30-minute clock will restart here, and we're now, 3 minutes or so into that 30-minute clock because of that. But it's strange, but again, it's South Florida, and this is unfortunately all too common down here. Any given day of the week, you have storms off in the horizon, you have sunshine, you have hot weather, and well, that's just part of it.
Yeah, just wait a minute, like we were talking about before. It will change either good or bad. NASCAR Tailgate, we've been talking a lot about that on Twitter, and what were you laughing at there just a moment ago? One of our colleagues may have weighed in.
Yeah, we've been talking about what we're doing here with the hashtag NASCAR Tailgate on Twitter at MRN Radio. Take a picture and send it in. You may be selected to be part of a virtual hangout with us before the race next Sunday at the Talladega Super Speedway. And our own Mike Bagley has tweeted in and used the hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. He is listening in from his car just underneath the billboard over in turn number 3. So
Not eligible. Not eligible. Mike.
He'll probably have to work with us and hang out with whoever we pick to have on there if you win this opportunity to kind of be a part of the virtual hangout.
All right, just enjoy your time over there, Mike. Stay safe. Same with you, Dave. Here's what we're going to do. There have just been, when you think of Homestead Miami Speedway, you think of the I have to win the championship types runs that we've had here over the years. Some spectacular moments that this track has given us. Why don't we take a look back at some of those amazing moments here at the Homestead Miami Speedway? Here is Kurt Becker.
For years, when NASCAR rolled into South Florida, it meant championship time. The season was almost completed, and we had 4 drivers with one last chance to capture victory. As NASCAR comes to Homestead Miami Speedway this time, it's a very different time. No championship is on the line. Most of the season has yet to happen, and it's summertime, not the cooler weather of fall. As we prepare for a different kind of Homestead race, let's revisit some of the biggest moments this track has given us in the playoff era.
The 2014 chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup has reached the end of the road. It all comes down to 4 drivers, 1 trophy, at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, and Ryan Newman were the first 4 drivers in this new championship setting in 2014. Newman actually made it without winning a race the whole season. As the laps wound down, the racing got more intense, and the fight was on for the championship.
Harvick glued to the bottom of the racetrack. Newman 3-car length back. He washes up on exit. Harvick gets away by 4.
For the final time up the back straightaway, they're racing for the win and they're racing for the championship. Kevin Harvick leads the way. Ryan Newman has used it all up. It's Harvick looking for the checkered flag and the title.
Kevin Harvick has a 5-car length lead. He's off turn 4, headed to the line. He sees the checkered flag waving. He's the winner of the Ford EcoBoost 400, and he is your 2014 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champ.
The bar was set high from that point for the championship race to be some of the best on-track action of the season. 2015 seemed to be the year of Kyle Busch. After suffering serious injuries from a crash in the Xfinity race at Daytona in February, he did not return until the Coca-Cola 600 in May. But that didn't stop him. Busch went on to win 5 races that season and won his first championship.
Here he comes off the end of the back straightaway for the final time. Kyle Busch steers his Toyota Camry to the bottom of the racetrack, looking for some serious hardware in Homestead.
It will be win number 34 for Kyle Busch. It will be the biggest one he's ever seen. The checkered flag is out. The win goes to Kyle Busch. The championship goes to Kyle Busch. He has done it here in Homestead Miami Speedway.
This is just so unbelievable, so amazing, and means so much right here, right now, and probably will for a long, long time to come. But just the opportunity, the amount of people that have poured their life and soul into everything that Kyle Busch does and is about. This is just a dream come true, and my family, my wife, my son, to have him this year and to have everything we've gone through this year to be in this moment. I don't know what else to say, but this is so special.
From a first-time champion to a driver who joined the most elite club in NASCAR, the 2016 championship race did not start out strong for Jimmy Johnson. But as fate would have it, it turned out to be one of the biggest moments in NASCAR history.
Here they come off the end of the back straightaway for the final time here in Homestead. It's Jimmy Johnson with the lead and a walk-off for the ages as he hits the main straightaway.
They've been fighting adversity all weekend long. They've come through every one of the problems, and they come home victorious. Jimmy Johnson wins at Homestead and scores a history-making 7th championship, tying the late Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty. Amazing the way this thing turned out. Jimmy Johnson does it again.
I am just floored that we're here. I mean, I thought it wasn't going to be our night tonight. This is the way things were going. But man, you can't quit. This team never quits. And to fight through all those restarts at the end and get the lead and win this race, it means the world to me to tie Earnhardt and Petty. These guys are legends of our sport. Grew our sport and made it what it is today. For guys like myself to come along and compete, I am so thankful for their legacy, for their families, their dedication to the sport, and the opportunities it's provided me and my family. And to join those guys, man, I just hope I can carry the banner, carry the torch as they have. This is just absolutely incredible.
2017 was the year of the little team that could. Talking about Furniture Row Racing, of course. Martin Truex Jr. and the number 78 team won 8 times that season and showed why. that night at Homestead.
The best team all year long can now celebrate a championship. Here he comes off turn number 4 for the final time and under the checkered flag. And Martin Truex Jr. is a champion. He's also a race winner as he scores the win in the Ford EcoBoost 400.
It seems in recent years, Homestead has produced a lot of first-time champions, and 2018 was no different. After being in the Final Four on 2 prior occasions and going home empty-handed, Joey Logano got his moment.
What a year for Joey Logano, and he caps it off with a win at Homestead Miami Speedway. Tonight, he will win the battle, and he will win the war in South Florida.
Joey said the other day, it's the big 3 and me. Well, me's the one who's going to win it. Joey Logano, in his 10th full-time season in the Cup Series, is going to win at the Ford EcoBoost 400 and the 2018 Series Championship. The most unlikely of the 4 coming in is the one who prevails. Joey's taken Team Penske to the championship.
And that brings us to last year. After years of Jimmy Johnson being the only driver with multiple championships, Kyle Busch earned his second and elevated his status.
The old mantle in the Kyle Busch house is getting ready to get an extension. He's getting ready to hoist some hardware. Kyle Busch through turns 3 and 4 for the final time tonight at Homestead.
Career win number 56, championship number 2. Off turn 4, looking at the checkered flag, and Kyle Busch scores the win here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. He is a champion yet again in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series.
While Homestead no longer serves as our championship race, this track has given us great race moments and will continue to excite fans under the South Florida sun.
That was the Motor Racing Network's Kurt Becker on a look back at some of the more wild and outstanding moments that have taken place here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, and there have been a lot of them. And we anticipate there might be some more sometime, hopefully today, when we get this race restarted. Again, no rain falling here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. If you're joining us, we are under the red flag, 5 laps into the Dixie Vodka 400. Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, the top 3, were under a hold because of lightning in the area. That is the reason we are currently under this hold and the red flag. So that being said, Logano sits patiently as the race leader, although back in his transporter in the NASCAR Cup Series garage.
Now we're easy top 10 car.
Before you dive into the race weekend, get up to speed with MRN Out Loud.
That is what makes an extraordinary team.
I'm Woody Kane, inviting you to join me every Thursday as we talk to NASCAR drivers and crew chiefs about the coming weekend's race.
There's a lot that we've been working on.
And let you know when and where to hear MRN's coverage from the track.
It's one of the older race surfaces we go to.
Gear up for the race when you catch MRN Out Loud streaming every Thursday at MRN.com or wherever great podcasts are found. With the 2020 season heating up, NASCAR Today brings you the latest between the races.
You get off to a bad few races to start, then you're like instantly aggressive.
Every weekday, you'll hear from the top drivers on the biggest stories in the sport.
I got great stuff. I'm a good driver. Bring it.
Join me, Woody Kane, right here every Monday through Friday to get the best and latest on NASCAR Today.
I'm Chase Elliott. Make sure to listen to NASCAR Today every weekday right here.
From Homestead Miami Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Here's a special message for those of you who owe the IRS at least $10,000 or more in back taxes. The IRS has special programs in place that could eliminate or reduce your tax debt by thousands of dollars. The IRS is currently accepting reduced settlements and other favorable programs. You may qualify for substantial savings, so get the help you need. Take down the number now for the Federal Tax Management Hotline, 800-242-1706, 800-242-1706.
With the 2020 season heating up, NASCAR Today brings you the latest between the races.
You know, I see guys throwing double and triple blocks in practice, and I'm just mind-boggled. Like, why would you, what are you doing?
Every weekday, you'll hear from the top drivers on the biggest stories of the sport.
Good way to hit the reset button for sure.
Join me, Woody Kane, right here every Monday through Friday to get the best and latest on NASCAR Today.
This is Bubba Wallace. Catch NASCAR Today right here every weekday.
Welcome you back to Homestead Miami Speedway here on the Motor Racing Network under a lightning delay. The track is dry and the sun is shining here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, other than the extremely dark skies just off behind turn number 2 and over in the back straightaway where that little cell is that has the electricity in it. That's the reason we're currently under the red flag. Big shout out to Josh Hodges 3 at Josh Hodges 3, the hashtag NASCAR tailgate. He's out cleaning his swimming pool right now, trying to get it ready to go. Big thanks also to at Hunter Mike 9041 out in Ohio. In Brewster, Ohio. He's working hard there while listening to our coverage here of Homestead Miami Speedway, and everybody else, especially at Livin' Farm Life 1 out in Idaho. In the month of June, the photo they posted, it's snowing out in Idaho right now while they're listening to us here in South Florida.
It's not snowing here, and we're sorry that it's snowing there. You know, I was just thinking about it as you were reading those off. You've got farm tractors and tractor trailers, rental cars and pace cars, maybe more on that if we get time, backyards and hayfields. Where are you taking in today's race, which hopefully we're going to get back underway here shortly? What else you got?
Yeah, you mentioned the pace car. Kip Childress, pace car driver, NASCAR official, he just tweeted, sorry, Mike Bagley and Dave Moody. By the way, Dave did it as well. He's out in his car out in turn 2. Kip Childress, sorry, Mike and Dave, I've got you beat. He's tweeted out at MRN Radio with the hashtag NASCAR tailgate. A view from the pace car, looking back at the field of race cars that are covered up right now.
Well, you know what, Kip? We appreciate you listening to the Motor Racing Network. Now, if you would just simply crank up that Ford GT and take it out on the racetrack and take 38 cars lined up behind you out there, we would all be happy. NASCAR Tailgate on Twitter at MRN Radio. We'd love to see what you're doing today listening to the Motor Racing Network. Winston Kelly and Steve Post joining us now down inside the Motor Racing Network Broadcast Center located inside the infield. Welcome in. I wish you guys were on pit road. I know you do as well. Winston, I want to start with you. We were just listening to that piece that Kurt Becker did on memories of the Homestead Miami Speedway, and one that will always stick out for me, and then I want to get you to weigh in on your thoughts on that, was Kevin Harvick. And what was it? Back in 2014, he had to win that race to win a championship. He had a walk-off win at Phoenix in order to put himself in position to run for a championship, and then backed it up with a win here. Just so many memories involving so many different drivers over the years.
Yeah, and the thing that amazes me the most, if you would have told me when we started this system back in 2014 that every single winner of the race would also be the winner of the championship, I would have said, no way. Is it going to happen more times than not because your 4 best teams typically are in the championship hunt? But to say that there would not be a non-championship contender, I just think that speaks to how the game is elevated at that time. And, you know, and the unpredictability. By his own admission, Jimmy Johnson was not the fastest car. He was the worst of the 4 cars in 2016. Put himself in position when Carl Edwards and Joey Logano got together and just had a phenomenal restart, and nobody was going to catch him. Every single year had a special memory, had a special moment to it, and it all began with Kevin Harvick, his first year with Stewart-Haas Racing and Rodney Childress in the first championship, and you could just build on it from there. So it'd be impossible for me to pick one out, but because the emotion in every single one of those victory lanes has been so incredible in its own special way.
I totally agree on that. And the way he won the championships, the multiple formats that he had to do to win those championships. Steve Post, you've been down here just like everybody else, year after year after year, calling races here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. What really stands out to you about this place?
Well, I think about this place is just the spectacular racing we have. If there is a perfect intermediate racetrack, this seems to be it. And you don't have to look any further back than 2 hours ago with the Xfinity Series, and you don't have to look back to last night with the Truck Series yesterday, and you could just go back. Every race is so good, and I think that's was always so exciting about coming down here, in that you could with a racetrack like this, where there's multiple grooves, if your car during a certain run didn't run on the bottom, well, you just run the middle and run the top. If lap traffic got in the way, you just go to another lane and race around them. If you're battling for the lead, you have room to race around them. So what stands out to me about this place is just the diversity of the grooves, and what a great racetrack it is, and what a popular racetrack. You talk to every driver to a man, they love coming down here and racing because they have that variety. You get behind and you can race forward. You know, you get in trouble and you don't have to ride in line and wait for someone to make a mistake. So this racetrack is so good. When I think about special moments, I am going to go back, just like Winston said, the 2016 Jimmy Johnson Championship. I had their pit box. It was a frustrating day. Chad Knaus is such an intense crew chief, and as a radio pit road broadcaster, when Chad Knaus is having an intense day, you don't get much information out of him. You occasionally will get a leer, or maybe he'll give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down on how the race car is. And that was the day they were having, and you knew you knew they were the fourth fastest car. And I'll never forget climbing when the race is won. One of the protocols of MRN is we climb on the pit box and grab the winning crew chief. And I climbed up on that pit box, and the look on Chad's face, Rick Hendrick's face, and Jeff Gordon was up on that pit box. And it's one of the few times in my life where I've ever said, this is not a place for a microphone. This is not a place for me to wedge a microphone in the middle of this celebration. And they had a moment up there on that pit box that I think the Winston says the disbelief and what it was and what it meant, and number 7 and all that went along with it. So that one stands out to me. Joey Logano, nobody, he was the fourth guy in. It was the big 3 and me. He was number 4. Well, he was number 1 when we got done. That was just, to me, in hindsight, learning how Todd Gordon approached that weekend and the way they managed practice and the way they managed that race. Not a shocker that Todd just had a master game plan for that race weekend, and everybody until the green flag dropped had Joey Logano's 4th in that one. And Winston, I think those moments are the ones that kind of stand out to me.
Well, and I would add Martin Truex Jr.'s to that, because, you know, you're talking about the Furniture Road team and what a great season they had. But you go back to what Martin Truex Jr. had to go through to get there, the situations that he had to go through at Michael Waltrip Racing when he was kind of a victim of circumstance, and, you know, ending up in another location and battling back, and just being such a super nice guy, just being a class guy. You know, those are the special moments you like, and we never go into one pulling for anybody. We pull for good stories, and Jimmy Johnson's was a good story, but if Joey won in 2016, his first championship, or Carl, that would have been a great story. Every one of them, how Kyle won in 2015 after coming back from his injury, having Kyle won last year after having not won since June. Every one of them has had such a good story. Had Martin Truex Jr.'s team not put left side tires on the right side, we would likely be talking about Martin Truex Jr. as a 2-time champion. But as my mother used to say, if frogs had wings, they wouldn't bump their fannies when they jumped. So therefore, it doesn't matter what if would have happened, it's what did happen. And so many great stories. But you can also go back to others. 2011, Tony Stewart, how he came back and passed like 80 cars. There have been so many incredible championship moments here that have just been so much fun to watch and be a part of.
Listening to a bit of a roundtable now with Alex Hayden alongside. My name is Jeff Striegel with Steve Post and Winston Kelly. They're down in the Broadcast Control Center, the Motor Racing Network trailer. I'm going to, you know what, we need to give a little love to two people, or two entities, if you will, one being this racetrack and the other being Ford Motor Company, because I remember back in 1999 when this track opened for the Cup Series. Tony Stewart won on that day. I think a lot of people looked at this racetrack and went, yeah, okay. It's another racetrack. It wasn't a crown jewel yet. It wasn't a destination yet. There were, half the people in the grandstands on those early days. But they refused to quit, they being the team from the Homestead Miami Speedway. And they dug and they dug and they dug, and they came up with the idea, hey, well, let's partner with Ford Motor Company and create what's called Ford Championship Weekend. It started in 2003. It grew. You couldn't get a ticket in here. They were sold out every year. They put on races, displays, brought drivers to hospitality areas, and they created their own thing. And Ford Championship Weekend was something that we all looked forward to. We all embraced. Our last Ford Championship Weekend, at least for now, was last year. But I will say this, and I think you would agree, Alex Hayden, that what they did here at Homestead and their partnership with Ford will long be remembered.
They absolutely took it to another level and really put Homestead Miami Speedway in the spotlight, not just because of the championship, but because of where we are location-wise. Geographically, when you come down to the mouth of the Florida Keys, right here at the end of the mainland in the state of Florida, and have the opportunity to spend a weekend of racing and all that comes along with it. A lot of people came down here from all around the country, and they came down here from all around the country to be a part of this because of the weather, because of the racing, because of Ford Motor Company stepping up to the plate, and Ford really did a wonderful job. They changed the sport and changed the way we celebrated championships. It really was something that was special and spectacular. Hope to have that again sometime soon. Don't forget, we will be ending the season here in 2020 with our friends out at Phoenix Raceway. We look forward to getting there, to crowning champions in all three of the NASCAR National Series out at Phoenix Raceway when we get there in the month of November. Continue to sit under the red flag. It's a lightning delay. No rain, a lightning delay right here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Joey Logano is the race leader after only 5 laps were run as we continue to sit under red.
As the first official vodka of NASCAR, Dixie Vodka brings Southern flavor to every turn. Our ingredients come from small towns and big cities and proudly represent the South in our backyard and beyond. Race online to grab a bottle of Dixie Vodka for yourself. And let's all raise a glass to going fast. 80 proof, distilled in Charleston, South Carolina. Please drink responsibly, y'all.
During these trying times, communities are coming together to help one another. Xfinity, premier partner of NASCAR, is committed to keeping communities connected. They've supported families with free educational programming at home and Wi-Fi hotspots for public use nationwide. Their Internet Essentials program has made it easy for low-income families, veterans, and seniors to stay connected for free, all while increasing Internet speeds. And their frontline employees have gone above and beyond. We salute everyone doing their part to chip in now.
Wind continues to blow from the backstretch straight across the infield of the Homestead Miami Speedway. Currently, sunshine is engrossing this entire 1.5 mile facility. Over 600 acres is the Homestead Miami Speedway. And for all you folks that might want to know, palm trees everywhere. There are palm tree farms all around the area here in Homestead, Florida. And here on this 600-acre facility, 1,005 palm trees all around the Homestead Miami Speedway. There's a rainbow now beginning to beautifully come over turn number 3, just behind where Mike Bagley broadcasts normally right there. And we hope to have him back out there broadcasting racing again very soon. Under a lightning delay, 5 laps in, Joey Logano is the race leader from Homestead Miami Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
The ARCA Menard Series returns to the track Saturday, June 20th at Talladega Superspeedway. Tune in to Fox Sports 1 at 2 p.m. Eastern Saturday for the General Tire 200, or listen live right here on the Motor Racing Network. It's Saturday afternoon rush hour in Alabama. It's the ARCA Menard Series General Tire 200 at Talladega, live on FS1 and MRN at 2 p.m. Eastern. ARCA's back on track.
The NASCAR season is back. Hi, this is Alex Hayden. We're headed back to the racetrack, and while fans won't be with us in person, the Motor Racing Network is setting up a virtual tailgate party. Tweet us pictures or videos of your race day setup. Use the hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. We want to hear from you. Find us on Twitter at MRN Radio. Use the hashtag NASCAR Tailgate. We may feature your tailgate on an upcoming MRN program. Be a part of NASCAR's tailgate party on the Motor Racing Network.
Back at the Homestead Miami Speedway, sunshine over this mile-and-a-half facility. There are dark clouds out behind Turn 2. There is a beautiful full rainbow that goes from Turn 3 all the way behind Turns 3 and 4 and comes down just out into the palm tree fields that the fields right over behind Turn number 4. If you follow a lot of people in the sports social media, believe me, you're going to see it, because I see cell phones all up and down the race control, the broadcast booth, some of the folks with track security here, and a lot of the pit crew members down on the pit lane as well. Saw them snapping photos out there as well. You'll be able to see it. Simply go to social media and figure that out. Alex Hayden and Jeff Striegel high atop the Homestead Miami Speedway. Winston Kelly and Steve Post still down in the MRN truck. And gentlemen, it's tough. It's tough on drivers. It's tough on teams. And Steve Post, will start with you on this. It's difficult, especially coming back after the layoff, starting back in May, and the 17th when we started in Darlington. But to have these types of delays when we're trying to get all these races in and do it in a number of days, it's difficult on these race teams. It's difficult on this industry.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, this thing is when, under normal situation is highly orchestrated, finely tuned and highly orchestrated. And then you try to double up on things, and we try to play catch up. We lost 9 weekends of racing, and we want to get caught back up as soon as possible. I know, as we get into it, and even aggressively hope that the playoffs that start Labor Day weekend can maybe start with some semblance of normal. So you're right, it is. And then when you're throwing in multiple Xfinity Series races like we had here this weekend, you throw in a Wednesday Martinsville race. What they did at Charlotte and what they did at Darlington with 3 nights and 4 nights of racing, and then Darlington, for instance, we had the rain out of the Xfinity race on Tuesday and went to Thursday, and those were major challenges. The upside of it is those were all races based within a couple of hours of Charlotte, where the base of this sport is. That gets further complicated now because we're sitting in Miami. Okay, the good news is we don't have a midweek show now. We wait until Talladega. But you're right. It's just there's very little wiggle room in the way this thing works right now. And like this afternoon, a prime example. If you joined Motor Racing Network's coverage at 2:30 Eastern Time, expecting to hear Woody Kane in the command center, you didn't hear that. You heard the final green-white checker in the Xfinity Series race because we had 2 late race cautions. That's how finely tuned this thing is, whether it's on a day like today with multiple races or with rain delays and moving things around. It is highly orchestrated, and when we have an issue like this, there are a lot of moving parts and pieces that need to be addressed.
And when they work, they work just like a well-oiled watch or clock. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with Winston Kelly coming up here in just a moment. But here is a couple of updates for you. Now, this is unofficial, but right now we could see this lightning protocol lifted in roughly 13 minutes. If that's true, we could see the cars back out on the racetrack very shortly. Again, the track is dry. The sun is out. There's a rainbow over turn number 3. The lightning is slowly but surely making its way, really running backwards, if you will, around the racetrack from turn 3 to turn 2. So it's disappearing out behind turns 1 and 2. Also a reminder for you, NASCAR Live on most of these Motor Racing Network affiliate stations. NASCAR Live, hosted by Mike Bagley every Tuesday night. And this week, NASCAR President Steve Phelps will join Mike to talk about all of the news, the things that are making news in NASCAR. Boy, there's a lot going on. And again, that's Tuesday nights with Mike Bagley, Steve Phelps, President of NASCAR. And speaking of NASCAR, Winston Kelly, you and I have had the chance to just kind of talk one-on-one about what we have been witnessing from outside. We weren't a part of the broadcast team when they all went back to work. We could just sit there and watch really with amazement as NASCAR worked tirelessly to bring NASCAR back to the racetracks. And, we both were talking about what a tremendous job they did to get NASCAR back up and going and under the green flag.
Absolutely, and us doing the same thing, but in a very different way at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and in a much smaller scale, to be honest with you, because when we're going through the same thing of the safety protocols, looking at the CDC regulations and everything else and how you do social distancing, what you do. But we're dealing with one state and one county and one city. And they're looking at multiple states, multiple counties, multiple cities with differing impacts from COVID and differing perspectives of welcoming people back. And then working with the racetracks that we've talked about, the Darlingtons, the Charlottes, the Martinsvilles, the Bristols, the Atlantas. So there's 5 states. Now you bring Florida into the mix, and you got Alabama. And one of the things that I think NASCAR's done a phenomenal job is not get ahead of their skis to announce what they can do and not speculate beyond that. I got a chance to look at the protocols that we're going through. They're somewhere around 43 pages, so very, very thorough, very just thought. Everything is just so well thought out. We've talked about, the booth guys come in, they go straight to the booth. The pit guys come in here, can't go into the garage area to maintain that social distancing. So the amount of work and the thought process and the amount of collaboration with all the different stakeholders and cooperation, and then you get outside of the industry with the local and the state governments, has just been absolutely phenomenal and incredibly well executed. And when you look at the other businesses, the other sports leagues coming and looking to see how did NASCAR do it, has just been incredibly impressive from my perspective.
Well said, Winston. Winston Kelly, lead pit reporter for us here on the Motor Racing Network. Also the executive director of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Some good news and some better news. The good news is that the 30-minute hold from the latest lightning strike, we got about, 9 or so minutes left. Hopefully we'll be able to get teams and drivers back out to their race cars here very, very soon. The better news is that big rain cell that was producing the lightning has moved on past turns 1 and 2. It did not rain at the racetrack. The rain shower that was behind turn 3, it moved on. We still have sunshine here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, and we're optimistic we're going to be able to resume this race very soon. Therefore, we're going to have to let Steve Post and Winston Kelly go ahead and get suited back up. Before they do that, though, I know they need to stretch out, do some calisthenics, and get those hammies loosened up so they can patrol pit road for us here.
Yeah, that's what we're doing down here. Actually, we've got the part we're doing. Winston mixed up some incredible Bloody Marys. What is in this, Winston?
Dixie vodka with black pepper in the Dixie vodka. If you've not tried it, give it a shot. I haven't today, but I have in the past. It is very, very good.
I was going to say we need to chug down these Bloody Marys, then do our calisthenics. But we're holding off on the Dixie vodka Bloody Marys. But calisthenic time, Winston. I guess we better get back to work.
Yeah, it's a good thing we're in such good shape.
That's right.
They are specimens. That's what they are. Winston Kelly.
Round as a shape.
Winston Kelly and Steve Post. Just a few more minutes, hopefully, before this latest 30-minute lightning delay will expire. And I start to see some more crew members now beginning to emerge from the garage area. Good signs here at the Homestead Miami Speedway.
And now a game of commercial chicken brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So, have you noticed how everyone's grammar is completely awful now? Like, the texting and the LOLs. Whatever happened to punctuation? I mean, drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
As drivers check into the racetrack, they're bringing along a newly heightened focus on health. And so should we. Over the past few months, people across America have been checking in with each other. But you can't help others if you don't help yourself. Advent Health would like to remind you that your health has never been more important. So check in with your doctor in whatever way you feel most comfortable. And if you have concerns, please don't put them off. Advent Health. It's time to check in.
From Homestead Miami Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Hey race fans, do you want to drive like a NASCAR champion? Now is your chance. Enter to win a brand new one-of-a-kind 2020 Toyota Camry TRD at NASCARFoundation.org/car giveaway and help kids in our local racing communities. This championship edition Camry celebrates the winning manufacturer's NASCAR Cup Series title. Donate just $25 to the NASCAR Foundation for your chance to win. Go to NASCARFoundation.org/car giveaway. Drive like a champion today by visiting NASCARFoundation.org/car giveaway.
When you're on the go, missing the side-by-side action at the racetrack isn't a problem.
Here comes Logano on the high side. He drives it deep into turn number 2.
Motor Racing Network brings the NASCAR race to you, wherever you are, so you don't miss one lap of the excitement.
Denny Hamlin has won the 61st edition of the Daytona 500.
You are the man, D8.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
Still waiting out the lightning delay here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. We did run 5 laps. Once we put him under the green flag, Joey Logano took the race lead, and that's where we have been since the lightning came in, the electricity with a storm that moved over behind turns 1 and 2. So while we have a moment, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network. Motor Racing Network is live in South Florida at the Homestead Miami Speedway as we continue to wait out a lightning delay for the beautiful Dixie Vodka 400 at this great facility that is the Homestead Miami Speedway. Alongside Jeff Striegel, I'm Alex Hayden. Dave Moody and Mike Bagley called the action out in the corners, and we'll have them back out there hopefully very soon. And then Steve Post, Winston Kelly down in the pit lane and garage area. This race saw Denny Hamlin bring the field to the green flag. He did not lead officially a lap because Joey Logano grabbed the top spot once the green flag went in the air. By the time they got to the back straightaway, then the caution flag flew for the first time, and then that resulted in the red flag after the electricity overhead here at this facility. That's where we continue to wait things out. Hopefully very soon, that 30-minute mandatory delay will be lifted, and we'll be able to get these crews and drivers back to their cars.
Boy, we've had a lot of different weather-type situations here just today alone. Earlier today when we were running the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, it was, 88 degrees ambient temperature with a feels like 100. Then it cooled off to 71 degrees and it felt like 75. Right now it is climbing back up. It is now 81 degrees, feels like 86 outside. We have had rain, albeit only in turn number 4. We have had lightning. I guess most recently now some, 15, 20 minutes ago?
Yeah. Somewhere right in that area. It's a moving target because they reset the 30-minute mandatory hold clock every time there was a strike within 10 miles of the racing facility. So what are we down to? About, 2 minutes maybe?
Yeah.
That's all we have left in this latest 30-minute hold.
Again, that is unofficial. So what we're hearing now is 6 minutes. So that may be far more official than our guess at 2.5. Right now we're hearing 6 minutes. And I think the thing that we like to see and that we can tell you is that we are looking at the crews making their way from turn 4, regardless of where the pit box is, making their way from turn 4 down to turn 1, which is where the cars are, which is where the cars are all covered up, which is where the drivers need to assemble to get back in. Now, if nothing is getting ready to go on, everybody stays at their pit box, nobody does anything. But people are doing things, and I think we are getting ever closer to getting the covers off, the drivers in the cars, on the track and back under the green flag.
Yeah, just a little under 6 minutes is where we're at on that official clock, and that means that once that clock hits 000, then the crews can come out and begin to make their preparations to get things set back up. That's not when the race resumes. That's just when the crews can safely come back out and get things rolling again. But you're right, there are a handful of crew members in their fire suits beginning to emerge from the garage area. No drivers have come back out as of yet.
So we will continue to wait. Again, we'll just give you a quick look at the top 10. and that is Joey Logano. We know you've heard this before, but it's Logano, Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, and Martin Truex Jr. That is your current top 5, and only 5 laps in. No practice, no qualifying. A little bit more on that and Alex's take on what that has meant to these teams ever since we got back after the break. The rest of the top 10, Harvick, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Ryan Blaney, and Clint Boyer. No practice, no qualifying. You've watched it unfold now every weekend since you all have been back from the break. What's your take on it, Alex Hayden?
Well, I think it's a moving target because there are some instances where we know exactly what the tire is because it's the same tire compound that we have run at a particular racetrack in years gone by. Then there are instances where we have a brand new tire. For instance, Martinsville, this past Wednesday night, it was a brand new tire that Goodyear and NASCAR brought to the racetrack. The teams had never raced it at Martinsville Speedway before, so the lack of practice cost a lot of those drivers and cost those teams. You saw it in the opening 50 laps. Some of the best in the business were going a lap down and were never able to recover. But that's the same for everybody. It didn't matter. It's all about making the right adjustments throughout the race and even bringing the right setup to the racetrack to unload to go racing. So in some instances, Jeff, I'm okay with no practice and no qualifying, while others, it wouldn't hurt to have a 15-minute or maybe even a 20-minute practice to let these teams run at least one or two hard runs to get an idea where they're at on their cars. Keep in mind, every race, whether it's been the NASCAR Cup Series, the NASCAR Xfinity Series, or the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series, each race since we've come back from the break, the layoff with the pandemic, we have had a competition caution on all of those. So effectively, NASCAR is essentially saying we're giving you the first 15, 20, or 30 or so laps, depending on the event, an opportunity to get out there and run hard. Yeah, it's in competition. Yeah, that is certainly laps that count for the race. But we're also going to give you a competition caution to give you an opportunity, if you choose, to come to pit road, make some adjustments, and realistically, nobody's going to lose a lap in the opening 15 or 20 laps, realistically, unless you have some sort of a problem. So NASCAR is doing their best to try to help them, but again, the playing field is level. It's the same for everybody.
Lap 25, when we go back under the green flag, we will see a NASCAR implemented competition caution. We're working lap 5 right now, although we're still sitting silent. All right, you talked about the break. There were certainly the differences of no practice, no qualifying. How would it affect the teams? Everybody on a level playing field. Let me give you a stat on one driver in particular, who, by the way, has got a brand new crew chief on the box. Prior to the break, 4 races. This driver was 0 for 4 in top 10s, and we talked a lot about him. I'll tell you who it is in a minute. After the break, 6 out of the 7 races were top 10 finishes. Most recently, they went to victory lane, and they took crew chief James Small to victory lane for the very first time. Talking about the driver Martin Truex Jr. What a difference a break made. They got off to a very slow start, 0 for 4 in top 10s. And since the break, and since the change in the format, man, they are all but unstoppable. What do you think the biggest reason for that is, Alex?
I think mostly it's just a matter of having his crew chief, James Small, adjust his role. He was the lead engineer for Martin Truex Jr. and then crew chief Cole Pern. That has changed, obviously, with Cole Pern deciding to step away from NASCAR racing. He went and bought a ski resort up in Canada, his native land, and is doing quite well, but he stays very active on social media, watching and listening to NASCAR racing. But to have James Small get in the role from saying what the car is going to do and suggesting what changes can be made to his crew chief Cole Pern, now James Small's in that other seat where he's the one that has to filter through all of the information that his engineer's giving him to be able to make the right decisions. James Small is definitely getting into that rhythm right now. And believe me, when Martin Truex Jr. starts heating up and gets into victory lane, wins tend to come in bunches from Martin Truex Jr. Last year, he picked up 4 wins in an 8-race span. In 2018, 3 wins in a 6-race span. 2017, 4 wins in a 10-race span. Well, he broke into the win column just a few days ago, Wednesday night at Martinsville Speedway.
And somebody had tweeted me just a few moments ago while we were in a commercial break. I was looking at it. They said, who do you think is going to win once we go back into the green flag? And I said, it's Truex. Why not? And the reason is he won on Wednesday at Martinsville. That has nothing to do with right now. But what does have something to do with right now, he won here 2 years ago. Then he finished runner-up. This is a good track for Truex, and Martin just got some good news.
He did, along with the rest of the drivers. To your cars. Race drivers making their way back out of the garage area, walking to their race cars. The teams are taking the covers off of them. We hope to have drivers aboard and engines fired soon.
Rusty Wallace here for Blue Emu Maximum Pain Relief. This pain cream is the official pain cream of NASCAR for a reason. It works fast, and you won't stink. There's no messy, greasy, nasty feel or any stinging or burning here. This is pure pain relief. Don't run your engine on Octane 89. Get the good stuff and meet me in Victory Lane. Blue Emu works fast, and you won't stink.
Blue Emu Maximum Pain Relief, the official pain relief cream of NASCAR.
The 1993 Cup Series season had more than its fair share of twists and turns.
Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin had a problem here yesterday, got together.
That's Dale Earnhardt. He shouldn't have even been messing with me in the first place, and so I flipped the script on him, and what does he do? Wipe us out.
Here's stories you've never heard before in a 10-part series called The 1993 Season.
So Dale comes over and I said, what did Mark say? He said he wouldn't talk to me. So Mark goes on to win 4 races in a row after that.
You can download it for free on iTunes and at MRN.com right now.
Drivers continue to emerge from the garage area. We see Alex Bowman in his red and white fire suit making the walk down the pit lane all the way down. The cars are gridded 2 by 2 at the exit of pit road. The covers have come off of their race cars, and very soon they'll be climbing aboard and getting this race resumed. From Homestead, Miami Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Hey, this is Bubba Wallace, driver of the number 43 Victory Junction Chevrolet Camaro. Victory Junction is a year-round camp for children living with serious and chronic medical conditions. Each year, nearly 10,000 children and their families get the chance to play, laugh, and do things they never thought possible at Victory Junction at no cost. You can make a difference in a child's life and feel your heart race. Support Victory Junction by texting BUBBA to 36413 or donating online at victoryjunction.org/donate now.
It's Rip the Fence. Alex Bowman is here. Jeff Gordon, your boss, was there one night, slinging back whatever he was drinking. We won't confirm what he was drinking. Maybe we'll do that in a little bit.
He was drinking Stella.
Stella Artois.
Wow, classic. You can misconstrue that between arrogance or confidence, and sometimes there's a fine line.
I think the mustache was the confidence.
Definitely. I don't know how I had any confidence after wearing that damn thing.
It's the Rip the Fence podcast, available on MRN.com and your favorite podcast app.
Back at the Homestead Miami Speedway, as the drivers are going to their race cars, we see the race fans, 1,000 of them, able to come back into the grandstands. See a lot of the pilots. I see captains. I see majors in their flight suits coming up as they come up to take their seats here in the front straightaway at the Homestead Miami Speedway. We thank them all for their service here in the United States. The drivers climbing aboard their cars as we speak. Dave Moody, you're out at the perch out there in turn number 2. Welcome back, and welcome back to the top of your billboard.
Thank you. I think we set a new track record for most ladder ascensions in a single race weekend. That was not a mark that we were really looking forward to breaking, but as long as it's dry and there's no lightning, we'll climb as often as we have to. Let's get this thing underway.
Yeah, absolutely. We have waited and waited and waited. The green flag was supposed to come out officially today at 3:56. It did not happen. It was raining in turn number 4, so we got delayed. Then we finally got the track dry, and, we're now waiting out Mother Nature. The lightning storm, that's gone. It's moved past. Drivers are climbing on board. In a few moments, they will crank them up. We'll put them back out on the racetrack. Mike Bagley, you have climbed to the top of your spot over in turn number 3. Welcome back, my friend.
Boy, you love throwing it at me when I'm trying.
We did it on purpose, and you know that.
Of course you did.
We were watching you in the binoculars. How is it over there? Are you back and good to go?
Well, I'm back. I don't know about good to go. Give me about 3 minutes. No, we're fine. We're dry. That's a good thing. We look around the racetrack. We don't see a lot of rain. Don't see a lot of electricity coming from these clouds. I think we're good to go here.
Looking forward to that, Steve Post. I see you making your way down the pit lane towards the grid of the race cars. Bubba Wallace.
and 62 laps that we've got to go. So I can sense the positive energy down here.
Yeah, same down here in the grandstands. It's nice to see some of the kids out at the racetrack too. There's a young man down here. He's got his checkered flag in the air. He's waving it around. He's got his University of Miami Hurricanes hat on. He's ready to get this thing racing again, just like all of us are, as the drivers have climbed aboard their race cars, simply waiting for NASCAR to give the all okay. Looks like Chase Elliott in his orange and white Hooters fire suit, still walking down the pit lane going to his race car. So it won't be very long now before we can get these engines refired.
You know, it was pretty cool there because as you said that young man turned around, a couple of young folks down there turned around, looked up at us, and he's got the checkered flag. He's waving his hand. He's ready to go. We're all ready to go. Man, let's put them out on the racetrack, put the green flag out. Let's remind you where they will be running and the restart order once they do. Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, they're going to start together in row 1. Brad Keselowski and Chase Elliott will be together in row 2. Row 3 has Truex and Kevin Harvick together. Row 4, the Busch boys, Kyle and Kurt. Row 5, Ryan Blaney and Clint Boyer.
And the rest of the cars, as they sit under the red flag, will let you know where your favorite driver is. And this look at the Blue Green Vacations leaderboard. Alex Bowman is 11th. Jimmy Johnson 12th. Tyler Reddick is 13th with Eric Jones 14th. Chris Buescher 15th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 16th. John Hunter Nemechek is 17th. Austin Dillon 18th. 19th is Bubba Wallace. And 20th is Ryan Newman.
Set to restart from 21st will be William Byron. 22nd will be Matt DiBenedetto. Eric Almirola from 23rd. Cole Custer will restart 24th. Michael McDowell 25th. Matt Kenseth from 26th. Ryan Preece from 27th. Corey LaJoie will restart 28th. 29th will be Ty Dillon, and Christopher Bell will restart in 30th.
Daniel Suarez 31st. 32nd Brennan Poole. 33rd J.J. Yaley. Quinn Houff 34th. 35th Josh Bilicki. Timmy Hill 36th. 37th B.J. McLeod. And 38th Joey Gase. And that is a look at the Blue Green Vacations leaderboard. Discover a better way to vacation with Blue Green Vacations, the official vacation ownership provider of NASCAR. Enjoy stays at beautiful resorts at over 40 destinations across the U.S. for one-of-a-kind experiences and vacation memories that last a lifetime. Learn more at BlueGreenVacations.com. That's BlueGreenVacations.com.
38 cars now coming to life down on pit road. 5 laps are complete. We have 262 that remain. Don't go anywhere. Motor Racing Network with live coverage of the Dixie Vodka 400.
Geico has the insurance industry-leading app that lets you manage your policy anytime, anywhere. Which means that Geico is always there for you, if only everyone was always there for you. Like animal control, when you're cornered in your garage by an angry possum.
Hi, me again. You guys said you would be here about an hour ago, and I think the possum is starting to get angry. Listen, I thought if I fed it, it would go away, but now it is ripping holes in the drywall and making some sort of nest. Just call me back.
Geico, always there for you with savings and the industry-leading mobile app.
O'Reilly. When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly
Auto Parts. Kip Childress ready to roll the pace car off of pit road. 38 drivers right behind, ready to do the same thing. It won't be long, and we'll be going back under the green flag. From Homestead, Miami Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Jeff Gordon has come from virtually nowhere.
He's one of NASCAR's all-time greats.
For the 93rd time in his career.
A pioneering champion.
Be at the right place at the right time.
The kid who took on the good old boys and changed NASCAR.
We started to go toe-to-toe from Earnhardt.
MRN presents a 10-part podcast series that traces Jeff Gordon's rise to NASCAR legend. Jeff Gordon, the colorful career of the Rainbow Warrior. Available now at MRN.com and your favorite podcast source.
For 5 decades, the Motor Racing Network has been the voice of NASCAR. And now, it's time to tell our story.
They are in turn 2 in front of Mike Joy.
With help from some of the sport's iconic voices.
Oh, crap! And I spin around. Here comes Richard Petty.
I'm Fred Armstrong. Join me for MRN's newest podcast series, MRN Presents 50 Years, the Voice of NASCAR. Available for download on MRN.com and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
A moment ago, you heard the cars fire up, and if we listen right now, we will hear nothing. They have shut the cars off. You just can't make this stuff up. A lightning strike behind the tower now has put us into another 30-minute delay. It just, you want to go. Everybody wants to do this. The fans that are here, the teams that are here, the drivers, the media, everybody wants to go racing. And yet we just can't get out of the blocks. Unfortunately, a lightning strike behind the tower has allowed NASCAR or forced NASCAR to use the lightning protocol, and that means another 30 minutes.
Well, yeah, and as much as that stinks and we're ready to go racing, we all also have to do this for everybody's safety out there. You don't want to mess around with lightning. You absolutely don't. Everybody knows that. And it is frustrating. We were very close. Yet again, the engines were already fired.